The Super Mario Bros. Movie recently dropped its first trailer, and there's a lot of questions that has yet to be answered. One of them includes the route to Mario's origins, but there is a very obscure part in Mario's history that may lead to the answers to that. That's going to be outlined in this video, so stay tuned. Last month, the Super Mario Bros. Movie had dropped its first teaser trailer, and I gave my thoughts about it. The first half featuring Bowser was amazing. Jack Black delivered an excellent performance, while the second half felt a little more iffy to me, as I'm not exactly sold on Chris Pratt as Mario, as I felt there was no distinction from how Chris Pratt sounds in his other roles. But then again, this is a teaser trailer at the end of the day, and, well, there's more of a chance that we may see more of Chris Pratt's Mario, as his voice begins to shine more as we get closer to the movie's release. But, even though it is just a teaser trailer, there is a lot to speculate as to what may end up being in the final film, a lot of which is based on what we already know. That is what this video is going to be about. Particularly, what I have to speculate is what will be Mario's origin story. As the trailer has already conveyed, this movie tells how Mario discovers the Mushroom Kingdom for the first time, which means that likely he comes from some sort of real-world location. This type of thing, while not mainstay for the video games, has been portrayed in other pieces of Mario media, such as the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, where Mario is warped to the Mushroom Kingdom after unclogging a drain pipe in Brooklyn, or in the live-action movie, where Mario is warped to Dinosaur Land after some waterfall he comes across, or something. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just forget that movie ever happened. But it does kind of connect with a bit of Mario's classic lore that was perceived of the character in different forms of Western media, that Mario is a native of Brooklyn. So if Mario comes from the real world, then it would make sense to have him come from a real-world location, and that could very well be Brooklyn, like the way he was portrayed in the past. And also, if Chris Pratt is able to give Mario some sort of Brooklyn-type accent, like how he's portrayed in Super Show and the live-action movie, well then, I may end up becoming more accepting of his role as Mario. But even more than that, there is one other aspect that may connect to Mario's origins that's in the movie, and that is by looking at the cast list. Aside from some of the more iconic characters, there's also some of the lesser-known characters. Most notably, we have actor and comedian Sebastian Maniscalco playing the role of Spike. Yes, Spike, as in Foreman Spike, a rather obscure character whose main source material comes from the NES game Wrecking Crew, which also stars Mario as the main character, as he works to demolish every pillar you see on screen. Spike's role in the game comes from a few areas. The first is in the bonus game, where the objective is to find the coin that is hidden in one of the pillars that you have to break, and you have to find that coin before Spike does, who is this character right here. If you get to the coin before he does, then you get 5,000 points. The other area that Spike appears in is in some of the later stages, where Spike acts as the bad guy, and tries to screw Mario over by knocking him up on one of the higher platforms. Either that, or if he attempts to do so, then you can knock him down by breaking the pillar he tries to screw you over with. And, well, that's pretty much it as far as what Spike does in the game. You can also add him in the game's level editor, where you can go crazy with the game's design and add a whole bunch of Mario vs. Spike type of levels, and go crazy with all the different types of buildings and pillars to add for you to break before Spike gets to all that. But for the most part, this is about as much of a role that Spike has had in any Mario game ever. The only other major role that Spike has had in any other Mario game was Wrecking Crew 98 for the Super Famicom. Yes, I say Super Famicom, as this only came out in Japan. In fact, the footage you see here actually comes from a fan translation of the game, as that actually had more of a backstory than the original Wrecking Crew did. Basic summary, Mario finds a building after coming back from vacation. It was a secret hideout built by Bowser, and it was so big, it was blocking out the sunlight in the Mushroom Kingdom, causing flowers to die. And so, it was up to Mario and his magic hammer to save the day. Yep, same hammer he used as part of the Wrecking Crew. While the original Wrecking Crew can also be considered a puzzle game in its own right, this one has more of that Match 3 Tetris-like gameplay that is more reminiscent to Panel de Pon, or as North American gamers would be more familiar with, either Tetris Attack or Pokemon Puzzle League. Most of the enemies you go up against appeared in the original Wrecking Crew, where their role is mostly just, hey, remember me from the previous game? Well, I'm back. And one of those enemies includes none other than Foreman Spike. He shows up in Stage 4, and here he's portrayed as being even more villainous than he ever has been in the original Wrecking Crew, where he's outright working for Bowser. After you beat Foreman Spike, he'll either tell you the directions to Bowser's secret hideout, depending on if you get a good time, or if you don't get a good time, he'll just run off and not say anything. But Foreman Spike's character in this game really feels like if you took Wario and Waluigi, form them together, and add steroids to them, well, that's basically Wrecking Crew 98's Foreman Spike in a nutshell. And, well, that's pretty much it as far as anything that Foreman Spike has been in any Mario game. So that leads to Foreman Spike's role in the movie, and how it may connect to Mario's origins. Because on top of the possibility that Mario may come from Brooklyn, this is where we may see the type of jobs that Mario has worked for before entering the Mushroom Kingdom. And very likely, this may be where the movie will adapt from Wrecking Crew, as Mario is likely to be portrayed as working as a construction worker, just like he has been in Wrecking Crew, the video game. I mean, that would make sense given the possibility of his Brooklyn origins. Even if Mario doesn't come from Brooklyn in the movie, he's likely gonna come from some real-world location. And, well, having Foreman Spike in this part of the film, where Mario works as a construction worker, makes the most sense to me, given the real-world environment. And, well, if I were to speculate a little further, they might also show Mario working and leaving multiple jobs based on positions he's worked in some of the games, such as being a doctor, or being a golf player, or even being a referee. Well, okay, maybe not that last part, but this could also be the area where Donkey Kong might appear. I mean, we do know that DK is going to be in the movie. He's going to be voiced by Seth Rogen, and it would make some sense for him to show up in a rather construction worker environment that would be based on his job in Wrecking Crew, and also serves as the environment for the Donkey Kong arcade game. Don't know how certain I am of those other things happening, but I am fairly certain that Mario's origins of the movie will come from the Wrecking Crew video game. And to further back that up, there was even a Sebastian Maniscalco clip where he was being interviewed for a Bertcast. This was back when, before we even knew who the full cast was even going to be, and casually he dropped a bomb about his role in the Super Mario movie, where he mentions this.
I'm in the movie Super Mario Brothers, an animated movie. So I'm playing Spike, their boss.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that at 12.
From the surface, that statement might not say a whole lot to the regular viewer who watches it. But for the purpose of this video, it actually says a whole lot. Their boss, the boss of Mario and Luigi. This further backs up the theory that Mario's origins in the film is going to be adapted from the Wrecking Crew video game. Mario and Luigi will have worked as construction workers, and Foreman Spike will be their boss. And that's it. How far will the film go at adapting Wrecking Crew remains to be seen, as I imagine the film would try to keep the real-world environment at least somewhat grounded to reality. Like, for instance, would we see enemies like the Gacha Wrenches or the Eggplant Men make an appearance? Who knows? Still, I am interested in seeing how they adapt Foreman Spike into the Mario movie, and part of why that is because, well, there hasn't actually been a 3D appearance of the character in any of the Mario games. For that, the bar has been set relatively low in terms of how to adapt the character compared to any of the other characters in the Mario universe, because, well, this is all they have to go by. And yes, I do think the NES version of Wrecking Crew is what they're going to be using as their source material when it comes to adapting Foreman Spike. Wrecking Crew 98, more than likely, is completely out of the picture. Sorry, fans of that Japanese-only Super Famicom sequel, if there's any of them watching this video. Either way, I look forward to seeing Foreman Spike in the movie. I feel like they could make it a better portrayal than in Wrecking Crew 98, as I wasn't really a fan of how he essentially felt like a clone of Wario in that game. And, well, who knows? Maybe if his role becomes successful enough, perhaps this could lead to the character beginning to appear in some of the 3D Mario spin-off titles that's out there. I mean, Foreman Spike for Mario Kart, anybody? But, what do you guys think? Do you look forward to seeing the Super Mario movie? Do you think that Foreman Spike is going to serve as part of Mario's origin story in the movie? Or do you think there will be another area that Foreman Spike is going to show up? Or, hell, do you think they'll actually use the Wrecking Crew 98 counterpart as part of their source material, despite my objections? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and while you're at it, subscribe to DSL Media for more content. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.